Thank you so much to all our esteemed speakers who enriched our knowledge towards India's digital payment revolution. And now, ladies and gentlemen, moving on to the next keynote address for the day, please help me in welcoming Mr. Javed Alam, Vice President, Cybersecurity, Paytm, to deliver the first keynote session of FinSec 2022. Over to you, Alan.
Thank you, Navita, and hi everybody. This is Javed. I head the cybersecurity for Paytm. Uh, so with with ever evolving tech change in the technology, I think we all understand and we all have come across some other type of cybersecurity issues. So I'm going to take a few minutes and talk about what are the challenges that we face in Paytm and in the fintech industry across India, and how do we practice and what kind of practice do we have in our Paytm for the cybersecurity, right? So let me share my screen quickly. Right. Okay. Awesome. So, right. So this is what we're going to talk quickly. So, what are the topics that I'm going to cover is what kind of Paytm cybersecurity challenges that we come across, what kind of, how do we handle it, what kind of approach do we have? It's important to have a layered security approach around it, an overview of how do we secure Paytm and the practice that we have. So, Paytm being one of the largest payment service platform of the nation with the biggest mobile app adoption in its category, we encounter similar pace of challenges for the cybersecurity from the cybersecurity perspective as well. Be it DDoS attack on our endpoints, on our application, on our publicly exposed assets, unauthorized attempts for unauthorized accesses, manipulation of codes, data exfiltration attempts, risk with third party. We have a business model where we do B2B and we have B2C as well, right? And when we have our customers whom we interact with on our platform, we have some of the suppliers as well. So securing their data, integration with their data is also quite critical for us. And more than that, critical is that how do we secure the entire transaction because the liability is on us, right? So we need to be very, very curious, very sensitive about how are we dealing with our partners so that our customers are safe. And then unintended misconfiguration, that could happen to any organization. But our agenda and our focus is on how can we reduce the risk and how can we reduce any such pilferage within the system which is unintended and unexpected. Fake application, customer care mobile number, social media posts which are fakes is in now world in today's world is on peak, to be honest. And this is one of the key challenge that we are facing. It's not just Paytm. I believe this is an industry problem that we are facing. A lot of people who are getting misled because of the fake applications and the fake customer care mobile number. A lot of frauds that are happening around, and how do we handle it? Across our environment, and obviously, last but not least, phishing, malware, like ransomware attack and stuff like that, and which could happen to anybody. And as we grow, as the dynamics of the industry changes, with the threats, on cybersecurity world also keeps changing, right? So here's a layered approach that we fundamentally follow in the Paytm landscape. We have our application security is what our crown jewels are, bread and butter that we call. That's our application, and securing it is one of the core thing. Which is we are predominantly on cloud, so cloud security and infra security, and obviously the endpoint security from where everything begins. And overarching is our GRC and data privacy practice that we follow. What kind of security do we have around it? Is by and large in our endpoints we have EDR and XDR system, DLP, which is pretty stringent. which helps in managing our any data exfiltration of sensitive information. And more importantly, now that we all have started working from home, and very few footfalls happens in office, we have to manage our system and how it's been used or misused intentionally or across the landscape, and wherein we have introduced the web proxy and CASB, which is Cloud Access Security Broker. So we know how is our data being secured, what kind of accesses, what kind of portals, what kind of sites have been accessed by our endpoints. Because any malware that we talk about, and ransomware, it could be phishing. It could, to some extent, be managed when people are working from home, but when people work from, sorry, it could be managed when people are working from office. But in current situation where people are working from home, it's get a little difficult, than the traditional way it used to be. So, with this, we have also introduced, web cloud proxy, which really helps us to keep a tab on what's happening on the endpoints, on the laptops. And obviously, with that, we have integrated CASB solution to monitor and manage our application. Who's accessing, how is it accessing, uh, you know. Uh, and obviously, a smart algorithmic, uh, permutation combination is what we are trying to build to understand, the lay of the land, and where is my data residing, and who all has access to my data, right? And how can we control data? How can we add identity to the data so that we know whom are we sharing the data, and we can give a life to the data. So if we share it with third party, for a business to get the data wiped off or access removed after certain duration of time, can we do really need to know basis access and stuff like that? Can we control any misuse or access of data from the users, or from the system which is not required, right? And then moving to infra and cloud frame. So infra and cloud is quite critical to our system as well, and because we are cloud driven organization, and lot of communication that happens between our application and our customers. So the game in here is to be fast, right? And say for example, if somebody is in a fast tag lane for to cross the fast tag toll, and the update doesn't happen fast, then there would be a long queue for that. And now that we have moved to a fast tag, uh, which happens automatically, right? You have fast tag balance in your Paytm, and you go to the fast tag toll, and you just fly by. You don't have to wait for that. Speed is the game, right? But with the speed comes the complexity, and then there comes the the nitty-gritty. On that comes the security, and then security gets brewed up with as the complexity of the entire system increases. And that's how there is a potential for multiple attacks to it. So though we are trying to keep up with the pace of the speed with our CDN, which is widespread, but there comes the potential of DDoS attack as well on our endpoints. So we have we have a capability of web application firewall built in with very stringent rules and threshold, with which we are trying to limit the DDoS attack and stuff like that. Uh, and then obviously moving from traditional VPN to zero trust is what we are trying to achieve. Because as you go with VPN, if somebody needs access, we definitely land up giving much more than what is needed. So if a user is needed to access to one particular application or system, we probably land up giving the access to entire subnet, probably much more than what is required for the business. So with zero trust, we have improved that, and we are moving towards restraining access to only that is required for the business transaction, right? So obviously, web filtering and other CSPM are part and parcel of it. So with CSPM is one very critical thing that I would like to talk, because this is how we protect our cloud infrastructure, cloud security posture management. Um, because in cloud, there are a lot of things which are, if which you do not configure unless until you do not configure explicitly, and it is left to default configuration, it would lead to a situation where you are exposed to public, where you are not too secure, and you don't want to be in a situation which which can happen. So we monitor all our cloud agents, cloud hosts, and cloud accounts very closely, 24/7, to keep an eye on the configurations, of our auto scaling infrastructure that goes up and down every minute. Uh, and then the changes that keeps happening to keep up the pace of the speed of our application usage and stuff like that, right? Now, the last point that I would like to touch is our application. So we are the early adopters in this, and I'm quite proud of the situation that we can call that we have shifted security to left. We have introduced uh, our code review process to with our uh, secure testing phase. So nothing happens in the later stage of the development, right? Everything happens before and while we are doing the development staging on pre-prod, right? And we are reviewing the code from the quality perspective, and which is automated with our pipeline, that goes to the production. And it's quite stringent that we have stringent policies that we have implemented, wherein code would really be blocked should there be any high severity or critical severity issues that we come across, right? And we could see the value of doing this, value of doing this, because the bug bounty program that we run, we have really seen the decline on issues since past around 8-9 months, since we have successfully implemented across the stack. The count and those, if you valid, are very low. So yeah, with that, obviously vulnerability assessment and then continuous penetration testing, internal, external, becomes part and parcel of securing your landscape. But then, by and large, I mean, this practice really helps us to keep up the pace. Uh, because things like log4j and spring for shell would keep coming up, right? And this is not going to go away anywhere, and as we become smart on protecting our assets, the hackers would get smarter as well. So everybody is updating and upgrading, right? So things like stringent policy on our vulnerability management. It's about explaining and understanding the risk that we are living with, and how do we make our stakeholders aware of what risk we are living with, and how do we reduce it. Obviously we can't do zero. How do we reduce it, and how do we reduce it to the level where everybody understands, the leadership, the board understands what kind of risk are we living with, and how can we continue to reduce it and leave it with a level where everybody are aware of and accept it, right? So with that, so this kind of broad, overview of what we practice. We have a SOC, we have AppSec, practice, we have cloud security practice, and obviously data privacy and GRC practice, which is kind of governing all of these practices in terms of process and understanding the process, identifying the gaps, understanding the technologies, identifying the gaps, and then implementing it. And with this, we also have built a team who really does the revamp of architecture within all the verticals, understanding what's going on, how have we developed it, how have we built it, is it a fundamental architectural problem, the API call happening within the system, the microservice call that's happening within the system, is it required so many micro calls, can that be reduced, can that be squeezed, everybody maintaining their database in isolation, could that be squeezed, and could that be optimized so that there's less microservice call. It would not just reduce the complexity of the entire architecture, but it would reduce the risk, the security risk, because the lesser the codes, the lesser the infrastructure, the lesser the risk, the lesser the flaws, right? So that is very critical, I think, to any environment, and it's very important to have that kind of lots of application services and microservices that's running and having cross communication between the services, right? With this, I would like to conclude my session and say if I'm open for any questions, if at all, and I'm happy to take up the questions if team has. Thus, the bug bounty program helps in reducing overall enterprises. Indeed, it does. It does because though there's a lot of false positive, but it really helps us to give a visibility. See, the more eye you give on security, it would give you visibility on how do you look from external perspective. So from within the system we might practice everything, right? But unless until we do not have an external visibility, so there are a lot of kids outside who does lot of things that are out of the box. So it really helps us to reduce the risk that we are unaware of, that the unknown part, right? The new security vulnerabilities and the threats that comes up in the market, and some kid sitting somewhere is trying to exploit that, system might not be on that pace. So working on running a bug bounty program really helps. Frequency should be based on criticality. Agree. What are we are passionate group of highly skilled next gen cybersecurity service and customer tailor solution for you. Hi, Javed, how talking about outside view of your attack surface. Hi, Sandeep. This is very interesting one. Outside view for attack surface. So we are working on BAS, breach and attack simulation program, this is very interesting. That how are you secured? Because kind of the way we Paytm has grown is exponential, and it's very difficult to keep a tap of it. Some guys, some developers sitting at home, is if they spin up some infrastructure and if they do not adhere to security protocols, we would not even get to know. And that this could happen to any organization, no matter how much control you put, right? So like bug bounty program would identify the unknown area and breach and attack simulation, where we pick up a segment, pick up a vertical, business vertical, and try to run all type of attacks from external perspective to understand how secured are we from external attack perspective. Say, be it our payment gateway, be it our FASTag recharge, movie, Paytm money, whatever platform we have, we would pick up a segment and try to do a real-time attack situation to understand, be it our application security and be it our vulnerability management, how strong our practice is really, right? How can we withhold this situation, and do we really have a resilience built within our system to stand this situation? So right, Jay. So zero trust is something we have been struggling, with VPN solution, and to be honest, it was not an amazing solution. Anybody who needs access, to our system to get into, they would get access to entire subnet, which is something. And even though if we do filter it, and if we add more policies and make it specific to a IP address, again, there's a lot of workaround that could happen to on VPN, where where people can get access on our system from other as well, apart from where the VPN agent is configured. There's a lot of tweak that can happen, right? We all know that. So I believe zero trust was one of the amazing and smooth transition, with which you do not really have to, every time you have to connect to office network by working from home, you do not really have to double click, open the agent, VPN agent, put username, password. So with zero trust, you open your laptop, you're working from home, you open your laptop and you're connected to the office network. You as good as you're connected to the LAN network, and your AD would get synced, your agents, your local agents, whatever you have, your for Mac, if you have JAMF, if you have AirWatch, whatever agents would get synced as good as you are on the office network, and that really helps to run any situation, any meeting flawlessly. Often earlier we have come across situation where people would be in a meeting and they say, hey, you know what, my VPN is not working, allow me some time. And this happens when we are running on P1, P0 issues, and the guy who's troubleshooting says, I am having issues with VPN. So we really wanted to kill that, right? And we have knocked it down. So now nobody says that, hey, my VPN is not working, let me allow me some minute. You know, they open the laptop and they are connected to network. So right. So DevSecOps, right? We have some tools that we have included included in our DevSecOps lifecycle to moving security, shifting security to left, and we do our code review, which is SAST, we call it in our language. Uh, before we make the production live, before we make our code live, and we have integrated a pipeline with Jenkins that really helped us to knock down all the low hanging issues, all the issues of top OAuth issues, fundamental issues, basic misconfiguration issues, hard coded credential, which is just hygiene, right? But it doesn't happen really in any environment. I mean, it's really uh, hard to get that inculcated in development. And with this, we have added, we have had most of our development community, development team as a security champion. So now they come up with thoughts and ideas on how do we improvise it.
Alan, I just
So
wanted to quickly interrupt you because we're already running late. So you can quickly take like last 10 seconds maybe and, close off your question, please. Yes.
all right. So last question, I believe, is from Vikram. So we manage our SOC. We have commercial as well as open source threat intel feed that we have on our SOC. That really helps us to manage the landscape. That's the briefest answer that I could give. All right, that's it from my side. I'm happy to be connected and to answer any questions if anybody is.
Thank you. Thank you
Thanks,
so much,
everybody.
Alan, for
Thanks, Sudha.
actually enriching our knowledge towards this. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us virtually and giving us a lot of insights about this. Thank you. And now we move on to the next keynote session, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be having Mr. Abbas Kudrati, the Director and Chief Cyber Security Advisor from Microsoft, who's going to be taking over the next session for all of us. So, yes, over to you, Mr. Abbas.